Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to The Grid. We are very excited, so excited that I actually wore a sports coat today to welcome our very special guest and a very dear friend of mine, wonderful, amazing photographer who has had two careers in one career. We are very excited to have my buddy, Mr. Moose Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. It's great to be back.
How you doing, Moose?
I'm doing really well. Even better now that I'm here.
Yeah, well, we'd love to have you here. You're here taping some classes?
I taped 2 new classes. They're done, so I get to goof off now.
Seriously, you did both of them?
Both done, in the can.
I sat in on one of Moose's classes today. I went in the control room while he was taping it. It's just so good. I was telling him at lunch today, I said, you know, one of the things, so he's doing a post-production class on landscape photography, and I think Moose is you know, obviously well known as a landscape photographer. That was like, I think, a big part of your life. But his post-processing is just really sublime. But here's what it is. And I told him what I loved about it was, he wasn't just showing, move this slider, move that slider. He was really talking about the thought process behind why you move the slider and what you're trying to achieve through your post-processing. I was very impressed.
Well, most people don't realize there's not a slider that says romance.
Oh, well, you're not using the right software.
So you've got to, that has to come somewhere else. And that's
that's
what I
right.
talked about.
Anyway, I just saw maybe 15, 20 minutes, and I was like, this is going to be a really good class. So I'm very excited to have you here. Our topic today is 10 things 10 things photographers should stop doing is basically it. And so we talk a lot about you should do this, you should do that. So today we're going to go in the opposite direction. Instead of saying, here's what you should do, we're going to say, here's what you shouldn't do. So both Moose and I have a list, and I did peek at Moose's. His are very, very good. If I had more time today, I would have gone back and come up with some better ones because Moose's are great. So let's go ahead and kick it off. So of the things that are out there that photographers should stop doing, what's your first one?
The first one that came right to mind is photographers should stop being so angry. Point blank.
They're angry.
Just angry, I don't really quite get it, the anger. It's like we're incredibly fortunate that we are able to do photography, whatever level it happens to be, whatever genre it is, and we should be able to revel in that rather than being angry, like I didn't get the picture, or I don't have that lens, or whatever it is. It seems like anger.
There is.
I hate to tell you, but it comes out in the photography. You can see it in their clicks.
It seems like that anger manifests itself in photography forums. If you go to photography forums, I make the joke that forums are where angry people come together. But if someone asks an innocent question in a forum, to the angry people, they go, it's time to bury this guy.
And it's like we were never in that person's shoe. I mean, we all start out, stupid, dumb, unenlightened. We all have to grow, so why can't we, I'm not going to say super nurturing, everything's happy world, but why can't we just revel in the fact we get to share what we do, agree that we're going to disagree, and not be angry? Yeah,
we shouldn't get angry about what if somebody else uses a different camera brand, if someone likes one lens over another, any kind of that stuff. But you'll see people just, and one of mine is, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's kind of touching on the same topic, and I don't understand why, because what you just said is very right. Photography is an art. It's fun. It can be very social. You can do it with other people, but it's like anything else. It's like any other art. Sometimes it comes out great. Sometimes it doesn't. Even with practice, even with care, you can be a violinist and have the most beautiful violin and have a really bad day of playing. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I don't really understand what's the root of the anger.
I've always trying to find that out, why people get angry. We're creative, so it's a personal thing, and I understand that. But when you go out and take a picture, you should be an emotional response to not just what you're seeing, but what you're doing and what you're creating. And that emotional stress seems to manifest itself on the negative side rather than the positive side. Maybe if you just took out the incredible pressure you put on yourself that it has to be perfect, might remove some of that. I like to tell a story. People, we plan a trip 6 months in advance, right? And we're going to go to that beautiful place. Then we get to that place and we get up early and we sacrifice coffee and all the rest of those things. We get on the edge of that place that it's going to be the beautiful sunrise. And we get there and the sun comes up and it's cloudy. And it's like, and then we go, okay, since we're here, we did all those plans, spent the money, we'll take a picture. And then we go to breakfast. And then we go, oh, well, since I got up early and I took the picture, I'll see if I can finish it. And we sit there and like John Stewart said, you just can't polish a turd. So maybe if we just take a deep breath and realize it's just a photograph. We're not really solving the world's problems. It's just a photograph. We might take the bright side rather than the dark side in all of our photography pursuits.
Well,
maybe.
I'm going to pose something. You guys that are watching, if you could kind of maybe chime in the comments there. Hey, but speaking of our comment, we have a comment here. Bruce Wonderly is skipping work to watch Moose. So, yay, Bruce. Thank you for joining us.
And thanks, Bruce's boss, for being understanding.
Yeah. Poor Bruce has a cold and wasn't able to come in today. But I'm going to ask you guys a question, and you can feel free to drop in your comments. I'm going to throw a theory out there, and I don't have any. This is why I'm asking you guys to chime in. But is it possible that some of the anger out there is because while there are some rules to photography, because it is an art, it's very hard to be able to follow the rules. Like, I think there's a lot of people that want to be able to follow a exact path and get an exact result. Like if you do a math problem, there's either a wrong answer or a right answer, and there's no interpretation. No one can look at your simple math problem and go, I know that you think that's right, but I think it's wrong, or I think it's bad. And then I think that one of the things that may be causing a lot of stress is, like, for example, unsolicited critiques. When people, So the other day, somebody, now this didn't happen to me. This happened to another person. But of course, when you say it's somebody else, it always sounds like, well, it really happened to me, but it really didn't. So this woman was telling me she put up a shot, and some guy was very, very critical about it. And she went and looked at his photography. And she goes, it was just absolutely horrible. So look at all the judging that's going on, right? So he says he doesn't like her photograph. She looks at his thing. He's terrible. He shouldn't even be judging my stuff. I think it creates a lot of stress and anger, and because, like there's a lot of photography that I look at that I don't get or I just don't like, right? I'm not a huge fan of fine art photography, right? I'm just, I figure, look at what I shoot. Sports, travel, and people.
Because we're storytellers.
Yeah,
So fine art's not our stick.
Right. So fine art isn't our stick. I can appreciate good fine art, but I'm not going to buy any fine art to hang on my walls or anything. I would rather have a landscape or a place or something. But that's just me. But I think but I don't ever criticize somebody's fine art. Like, I don't look at it and go, dude, that's not any good. Now, I've seen people that have had some acclaim that I think, I don't see it. Well, but I don't get angry about it.
There's times people have asked me to give their opinion about their photograph, and it is a fine art. And I say, I don't feel qualified to make a comment.
Yeah.
And people get mad at me. I'm like, no, I'm not putting you off. It's just like, honestly, I don't feel qualified to do that because it's not what I do. It's not what I feel. And beauty is in the eye of the beholders.
Yeah.
So it kind of relates to one of the other things I said to stop doing. And I said, stop listening to everybody about your photographs. Photographers, I know we're creatives. We feel like we have to have all this input from all these different people, but really the only input you need is from your heart. And it's easily broken, so why do you always put it out there for someone to stomp on it? I mean, seriously, it's like this vicious circle. And you got to realize that the picture you take today, more than likely, a year from now, you yourself won't really like everything about it because you're going to constantly grow. So
that growing thing kills me.
It hurts.
I'll have that happen in a course of a few days. I'll be in the middle of the shoot. I'm in the zone. I really like what I'm doing. The next day I look at it. I'm like, it seemed to me that was better than that. And then like 2 weeks later, I'm like, I never want to see this shoot again.
That emotional aura rubs off and it's back to the reality.
Yeah, and you look at it with a different set of eyes. I've heard a lot of photographers say that I don't really look at my images until the day after I took them or something, because I need a little space from the emotion of the shoot to look at the images in a non-emotional way, because you're like right away, you're like, hey, these all look great. And the next day you're like, wow, I thought they looked better before I went to bed last night. And the next 2 weeks later, boom. Well, can I dovetail this into my other one?
No.
Okay, dang.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Here,
well,
we'll
thank
mix up
you.
the pages. See?
All right.
Go for it.
So the other one I was going. Was mine is like I see this happen a lot. So both Canon and Nikon have just announced big new cameras. If you to go to any of the big sites and look in the forums, I just want to say before I tell you what I'm going to say, nobody has touched these cameras. No one's seen them. No one's taken a single shot with them. You know what they've done? There's been press releases. It says, here's the features. People are attacking these new cameras and telling you every reason in the world. People are writing 2,400, 3,000 word essays about why this is the wrong camera. And so, number one, I don't understand how we make such snap judgments about things that we haven't held, we haven't touched, we haven't taken a shot, but we can tell you everything about it. It's just like, really? Have we gotten to that where all the most important thing is attack, not let's take a look and see, maybe we should try it. Maybe the camera's better. Maybe when I hold it in my hands, I'll really, really like it. Maybe it'll just feel right to me, you know? And so it's very odd to see people like attacking the like gear.
The
like,
unknown.
Well, also, this is the thing that really surprises me about this. And this is the thing I would tell photographers to stop doing is when it comes to gear, you have to realize not every piece of gear that's made was designed expressly for you. It's okay to create lenses that are for a particular group of people. It's okay to create a camera that is an action camera and isn't right for shooting flowers. You know what I mean? It's like camera companies look when they put together a camera, and since I've been involved in a couple of launches, I've been able to see kind of behind the scenes. You do this all the time.
Yeah.
So you know that they go, well, there's a particular target market that we're looking for this camera. This camera is designed to appeal to the blank, 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 whatever market that is. Let's say it's designed for the wedding shooter and the portrait photographer. And so you'll see somebody in a forum going, well, you can't shoot sports with this. It's only 6 frames a second or 5 frames a second. And the autofocus is too slow. And they're angry. That camera wasn't made, every piece of gear wasn't made for you in mind.
It's kind of like a car dealership.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cars on the lot. You don't have to get angry because the first one you stopped at isn't for you. Why did they even build that car? It's not for me. So what I would tell photographers to do, based along what you're saying is, because it's an anger thing, is just understand that there will be all kinds of bodies made on all kinds of cameras. If you shoot Nikon and Canon comes out with one and you're a Nikon shooter, it shouldn't ruffle your feathers. It shouldn't get you upset. You shouldn't be angry. And if you're a Canon shooter and Nikon comes out with one, and whether it's faster, slower, better, whatever, it doesn't threaten your camera. It doesn't take your camera away. It doesn't come to your house and take your film. It's just...
Well, I've not met one carpenter who comes out and says, well, they made another rough housing hammer rather than a finishing hammer. Doggone them, why'd they do that? I mean... Yeah. Why do photographers pick on tools when others in crafts don't pick on the tools that come out or don't come out?
Yeah, because I've talked about this with guitar because I play guitar, and if I run into another guitar player, there are a lot of in photography we have 3 big brands, maybe 3.5, right? But in guitar there's 50 big brands. I mean, there's all kinds of brands and stuff. And if I run into somebody and they go, hey, what kind of stuff do you shoot? Oh, I play Fender. I got a Fender Strat. And they go, I got a Gibson Les Paul. I'm like, dude, all right. I don't feel threatened. I don't feel angry. I feel like, cool, I wouldn't mind having a Les Paul. Like, I look at all the other brands and I think it would be cool to play all those other guitars. And in the guitar world, when you whatever guitar, I've never ever talked to another guitar player and say, I play a Fender Strat, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I wouldn't play a Strat. Never. Yes, you can't even imagine that.
Well, I think part of that gets into this whole process is the insecurity photographers have.
Yes.
They are so insecure about, and I don't, maybe we're very judgmental. I know we're very vocal about it, but the insecurity comes with the fact that new cameras come out. Maybe I should buy it. I ain't got the money. Might change my photographs. And the whole insecurity feeds into that thing, where if they were just not worry about what other people say. They might not worry about the new camera features might not have.
I know, but you know what? It's very hard for someone who's sharing their work with the world to say, I don't care what other people say. It's because we're human beings. And anytime I have somebody tell me, I don't care what other people say, I usually think that's a load of crap.
Yeah.
That's something that sounds cool when you say it. But in reality, I've never met anyone that really doesn't care what other people say.
Right.
You know.
But it plays into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is about gear. So maybe stop being so gear oriented. Simply just maybe be more passion oriented.
Well, and enjoy the gear that you have.
Something, yeah.
You know what? We're always going to want new, cool, fun stuff. We're always going to, no matter what, because it's new, cool, and fun. And the camera companies are very good at making the next camera better than the one they had. It's got new features. It looks cooler. It's got that thing that you wish you had and all. But that doesn't have to make us feel bad. It doesn't have to make us feel like I don't have the best camera, so it's like, enjoy whatever you have. You know what? There's a serious, and this goes back to what you said at the very beginning. There's something serious that's standing in the way of us having the amount of joy that we should get from photography, because we get wrapped up in the anger, we get wrapped up in the gear, we get wrapped up in that stuff. How do we get past that? Like, I don't have the answer, but do you have?
I only have one thing that in my life that I can relate to that kind of moved me past that really quickly. I was very fortunate in high school to have an amazing high school photography teacher, Mr. Traub. And, there was the student checkout locker, which had all the beaters, the old stuff that, been forever.
Right.
And that was the choice. And he had just gotten himself a brand new Nikon F with the 55-3.5 micro, that beautiful lens. And, looking at pictures and, I was a sophomore in high school. And the kids talking back and forth, and he said, well, yeah, you got that new camera. You can always take great pictures. She said, I'll tell you what, you guys have this camera one day a week, and then for 2 weeks, and I'm going to shoot with, and he said, you pick the worst camera here you think it is. You pick it out, this twin-eye monster, and I'm going to shoot with that. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to compare the results. Ours sucked with this brand new, beautiful camera, the great lens, and his was the most beat-up, horrible camera. There were gorgeous shots. And the difference was not the camera, the person behind it.
Yeah.
So I had that lesson very early in life.
All right. Ready to go another one?
Sure.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, can I look at the list?
Oh, of course you can. Well, it's also up on the teleprompter if you.
That means I have to get glasses out.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No.
I'm already wearing glasses.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming. Can I read it without them?
So,
Not so much.
Stop thinking photography is easy road to riches. It's really a road to satisfaction and to great passion. Photographers are really hooked into this dollar thing, and I understand you want to make money, but photography, if you're trying to get into it because you're going to be rich, you're never going to get there. Ever, ever, ever.
But you know what? I don't know if Moose really, because I don't talk to a lot of people that go, I got into this because I thought I was going to get rich. What I do hear a lot of people say is, I just want to make enough money to pay for my gear. Like, they just want to make enough money to where, like, if you have a D4S and Nikon comes out with a D5, you can buy it. You have a 5D Mark III, when they come out with the next one, you want to buy that one. I think there's a lot of photographers would love to do nothing more. But can I tell you how people are?
Yeah.
So here comes the moment of truth.
I was going to say, I've never heard him say stop there, but go ahead.
No, that's the thing. And here's what I think will happen. Let's say that you start shooting. And you make enough to, at the end of 2015, to start January and go to a store and go, I'm going to get that body and I'm going to get that lens, and you got everything that you wanted, right? Within reason. All right? And you say, okay, last year I made $11,000 from photography. It went all on my credit card and I just spent $11,000. Do you think that your goal in 2016 is $11,000?
Nope.
No, because now you go, hey, I made $11,000. I wonder if I can get 20, and then what I can do is do $11,000 and spend $9,000 on travel, or maybe I can buy a new car. Because what happens is, whatever goal that, and I used to talk about this in my seminar. What I used to say was this: if your goal is, in your goal in life as a photographer, say, you know what my dream is? One day, if I could have a gallery showing. If I could have a gallery showing in my hometown, that would mean so much to me. It would really mean that I've arrived and I've accomplished something and I'm a serious photographer. And then you get that gallery showing. And you go to it and you're there with your champagne and it's opening night. Oh, well, of course, I'd like to talk about my work and all that kind of stuff. And then it's over and you're back home and you look back and you go, that was really great. And then you go, You know what I'd really like is a gallery showing in New York. I mean, it doesn't stop because all it does is whatever goal you had, you now choose the next thing up. I wanted a gallery showing on my hometown. Let's say you live in Georgia. I want a gallery showing or Alabama, in Dothan, Alabama. You did that. Now I want a gallery showing in Birmingham. Now I want a big gallery showing over in Atlanta in Georgia. Now I want to go to New York. Now I want to go to Paris. It never stops because of the type of people we are and the type of human nature. Once you reach goal number 1, you immediately peg goal number 2. You might take a 2-week break, right? But that's the weird thing about this. Jeff May has a comment. He says, Scott, camera anger is just an extension of the computer anger from the 90s. I think it comes from manufacturers making you think that you must upgrade to be a professional. Bunny ears, rabbits. The answer is to stop looking at the new stuff until the stuff you have no longer works for you. It's hard to hide from the new stuff.
It is. But maybe because people think I'm a genius at business, I'm always hearing about how do you get rich in this business.
Oh, well, now I would see...
It's the gallery, but
yeah.
it's that
You've
constant...
had a very successful career, so people are, of course, are going to be like, hey, how do you make that, moose money?
But then if you look at it, people see you're successful because they see what? They don't see the entire package. They see what they want to see in a way. They don't see behind the scenes all the work goes into it, all the hours. It's not like...
They see the highlight reel?
I'm going to go from the grid and get in my limo and get in my private jet and go home and be at my home tonight and on the deck relaxing, and then it doesn't work that way.
Why not?
Because the passion keeps you going beyond the peaks and the valleys.
Yeah.
So I think you stop, I guess, maybe rich is maybe not the right word, putting a dollar figure to your success, putting other labels to it, maybe you'd be happier if you just stop saying it's a money thing.
Well, you know what? Can we talk about the money thing for a minute?
Sure.
Since you have a lot. So no, I mean, but I mean, you had a very, very successful career, and you've had it in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. So I've
been very fortunate.
You have been. You've had a really blessed career.
I have a great wife there.
Yeah, you do. All right. So let me ask this question. So for people who are like, where can you make money in photography, in your opinion, today? Like, if you really said, you know what it is, I want to quit my day job. I'm an accountant. I'm an actuary, I'm a farmer, I am a construction worker, and I want to become a full-time photographer. Where can you, forget the rich, where can I make a living that I would be happy with my family and the kids and send the kids to a private school? Where can you do in photography these days? Is it sports photography?
If I gave them the honest answer, I'd say there isn't one that's going to happen today. When I do my business class, and it's all editorial based, no magazine based.
Right.
So let's say in the perfect world that today I shoot this article, write this article, and tomorrow it gets accepted in a magazine. I won't see a paycheck for 6 months to 9 months, even if I do that work today, right? And even when that comes out, the amount of money that's going to come out of that check for rent, food, and all that stuff, that one piece that I did and produce today won't pay all those bills. So it's a constant process. It's not just a one-day thing. And I have, luckily, I'll give you an example. A good friend of mine decided to do something totally bizarre. He works with cranes, as in build buildings, big cranes, right? You're talking about a real esoteric part of the world. And Bob decided that, because he was in that industry, he was going to do articles and stuff about that. Within 6 months, he's got covers of magazines and articles on cranes. So one of the times he was at Denver, going from the big plane to little plane terminal. There's a little glass terminal there. Mm-hmm. And he was going through SDF, and he saw a crane busy working on it. So there's a plane, there's a crane, beautiful skies, puffy. He took his DF real quick, clicked, and ran to his plane. And then he goes, okay, I got this cool shot. No one's going to get it. He sent it to a magazine. He got the cover. So the moral of the story is, no matter how esoteric it is, if you think about the photography, you think about the story, and then you find the hole for that picture, you can make money. But it takes time. Nothing happens overnight.
So let me ask you a question, because I know a lot of friends that have had cover shots on magazines. I think that a lot of people think if you get the cover of Sports Illustrated, you get the cover of Time or something, you're getting what? 75 grand? 100 grand? what, more like 2,000, 2,500 for the cover of Sports
If
Illustrated?
we're talking about wildlife photography, the best paying cover right now is $2,000.
Yeah, and that's pretty much, I think.
For aviation, it's $450.
Yeah. Now, if you get commissioned, like your photographer, like maybe Greg Heisler or somebody, you get commissioned to do a cover, and you've done a number of covers, and they wanted you for the cover, you might make a little bit more.
But then, if you're Greg, you've put in the decades to be Greg. I always get a crack at people, and I do something, and they go, well, you're Moose Peterson, of course you could do that. And it's like, when you think I started 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I was Moose Peterson. I was anybody else back then. You only got to be somebody if you put in the years and the time.
Right.
And it's not a 40-hour or 60-hour or 80-hour week. It's a 365, 24/7 job. Ask my wife, my kids. It's a full-time job and passion. And then if you do it long enough, then you are the richest person on the planet. But it's not measured by a bank account.
Right. But it's that passion that keeps you going, because if you just do it for money, it's going to beat you down, because the money will be very inconsistent regardless of what you do. It'll be very, very inconsistent. You'll have good paying jobs, bad paying jobs. And you know what? There are a couple of photographers I talk to. I talk to a lot of people, a lot of the same people that you know, right? We kind of know the same people.
We have similar friends?
We have similar friends.
Oh, my Lord.
We have many of the same friends. And a lot of times I talk to a photographer and they just give you a pat answer. Hey, man, how's it going? Oh, God, so much business, I don't know what to do. It's coming down my ears. But every once in a while, I have a photographer that you know is very successful overall. And I go, how's it going? And they'll be going, Scott, the last 2 months, the phone hasn't rung. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Like, we're in a panic. And you're stunned when you hear this person that you think, oh, my gosh, I thought they'd be, turning down jobs left and right. Then you'll talk to them 6 months later and they go, how'd it go? You know what? Last month, I worked every single day. I was doing 2 shoots a day, and I kind of made up for the last 2 months, but I have nothing for the next 30 days. And it's always like feast or famine. I got a ton of work or I got nothing. But a lot of photographers won't admit that. A lot of photographers will never tell you that they ever have a down day, that there's ever a time where they're not just cranking the money and all that kind of stuff. They'll be like, oh, I can't even, I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't slept in 4 weeks because I shoot 24 hours a day. And just half of my time is spent counting money. And, it's just like, it's kind of crazy. Like, really?
Yeah.
So when someone tells you that, someone that you know is well known in the industry or successful or whatever, and they tell you that, it actually makes you think, number one, it's so nice and refreshing to talk to an honest person. Number two is it makes you understand them better as a person, and that how hard you have to work to create a consistent income. Creating income and creating a consistent. Everybody I know, like a good buddy of mine, Rob Foldy, is a very, very good photographer. Works really hard. I mean, he works as hard. I'll talk to him, and he's on his way to a 400-mile road trip to shoot a game. And the next day, he's going 250 miles the other day, and he's shooting 2 baseball games in the morning. And he drives another 200 miles to shoot a basketball game that night. And he's hustling. He's like really busting his butt to make a living because he wants to be able to make a living from his camera. And you look at him and go, well, gosh, that guy's, he shoots for Getty. He's doing okay. That guy works his butt off, Moose. Yeah. If I had to work like that, I'd have lasted about a week. I mean, now, he's much younger. He's like 10 or 11. But he's much younger, and he has, tremendous energy. But that's why when you're young, you got to bust it. You know who's doing that? Drew.
Drew's doing great.
Drew is doing great, and you see, but you know what? You can see from the volume of work he's doing, Drew is busting his butt. It's not all handed to him. It doesn't come, a feather doesn't land on his desk and go, there's money, just show up. And, he works hard. And he works hard to make his shoots a success.
And he's working in a very hard industry, too.
Yeah, he is.
It's not
he's working
forgiving
in
at all.
A very tough, cutthroat industry.
So, yeah.
Hey, it's break time. When we come back, we have more. And we promise not to take as long on the rest because, eventually the show would be over. So stick around. We got Moose Peterson here live in the studio. Kathy Porepsky's on the set, which makes it all the more fun. Stick around. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Where can you get the world's best photography, Photoshop, and Lightroom training? Where can you get personal attention and unlimited access to the world's top instructors? Where can you get hands-on live shoots and workshops? Where can you get 3 non-stop days of networking and Vegas excitement? Photoshop World in Vegas. Photoshop World. Sign up today.
Do you have an InDesign project but you're not really sure how to use InDesign? Well, I'm going to teach you some quick, easy, simple techniques to get you started. We're going to be looking at adding text, images, logos, icons, interactivity, even a QR code. And at the end of this class, you'll have learned some great techniques for your project. I'm Dave Clayton, I'm a KelbyOne instructor. Check out my new class on KelbyOne.com.
Hey guys, I'm Michael Corsentino. I am really excited about my brand new class on how to use the Canon 600 EXRT and its companion trigger. This class is designed to get you up to speed using flashes, modifying your light, and molding and shaping your light with various accessories. We'll talk about radio versus optical, masters and slaves, groups, and high-speed sync. So I hope you come check out my brand new class only on KelbyOne.com.
Create your own space at squarespace.com.
It's an explosion of Photoshop knowledge, skills, all wrapped up into one big convention.
It exposes you to a lot of different techniques and ideas, and it's going to make you want to come back again right away.
I think as a professional, it's must to come and train yourself.
If you want to be serious, you want to take it to the next level, there's no reason why you're not here.
To see these guys in action, it's amazing.
Go. Just hands down, go.
Hey, we are back. So while we were on break there, we Ajin is here, our Duchess of social media, and we just did a live broadcast on Facebook on the break. So it was like we're doing a live broadcast during our live broadcast,
Which was just like we were talking about before the break. We're always working. We didn't stop.
We don't stop.
It didn't stop.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you guys back. Welcome. And also thanks to Squarespace, one of our sponsors. They are awesome. I have my portfolios hosted with them.
Excellent.
And so anyway, who does your stuff? Smugmug?
My printing or my hosting?
No, you're hosting.
I do my own.
Well, Moose has got a crew, right? So
I do have a crew.
He's got a crew. They do video. They do websites.
My crew is my family, just so everybody knows my secret.
I know, but he kind of he grew these children to be Moose helpers.
Sometimes they remind me of that.
But they're really, really good. I mean, they're incredibly talented, incredibly good kids. Really good. They're really good people.
Jake Peterson, Brent Peterson, check them out.
They're awesome. But he has kind of like got the. Did it all just happen that way, Moose? One of them happens to be really, really good at photography and editing, and one happens to be really, really good at apps and video. And did it just all happen to fall into place?
Like I keep saying, I'm really fortunate. It did.
It is. And
I wish I could take credit for any of this. I can't.
Yeah, it's like he grew help. All right, anyway. So, all right, let's talk about, we've been talking about things that we're hoping that photographers will stop doing. We talk a lot about do this, do that. We're going to go the opposite direction. And we just talked about thinking that, getting into photography to get rich, which we know is a very, very, it's a very hard thing to do.
It's the wrong motive altogether.
Yeah, it's kind of like
you can't succeed.
Well, there are people that make a good amount of a good living.
Sure.
It's usually people that have been doing this a long time. They've built up a business. They've built up clients. It's not something that happens for most people overnight. It's like a football career. It's like you don't just go to the NFL. You're not sitting at home and think, man, it'd be fun to be an NFL player. I wonder if I should just do a walk-on and see if I get a gig.
Well, but when do you actually take note of photographers? Usually when they hit success,
right?
Which means they put in their time
to get there. Right?
They didn't just do it overnight. In those years building up the success, you didn't see them. We don't recognize all that effort. And there's a lot of effort. So, yeah, it makes sense. But we do put people on pedestals for a reason.
Yep.
Knock them down.
All right. So here's a couple things we've talked about. Moose started off with stop being so angry, because there's a lot of anger in the overall just photography community over everything. I mean, you can't name a topic that people don't get angry over. Number 2 is stop thinking that photography is an easy road to riches. I've got one for you.
Go for it.
I think photographers would be happier if they would stop being so legalistic. And so, like a lot of times, they think this lens is for this, and if they see somebody else using that lens for something else, they go berserk. It's like if you use a camera that was designed for sports and you shoot a wedding with it, it freaks them out. It's like, this is like picking up a brush and being a painter and go, you can only paint portraits with that because it's a portrait brush. And if you paint something else, it's just wrong. And it just shouldn't be done. There's a lot of that. And like, if you say something like, if Moose and I are talking and we give you a technique and we say, you know what, I wouldn't shoot that with anything other than a blank lens. That is my opinion, or it's Moose's opinion. We may even share the same opinion, but it doesn't mean that nobody else can do it that way and that's the way it's done. Like, we make a lot of jokes, and Moose has made jokes for many years about shooting stumps, right? Like Moose.
Sticks and stumps.
Sticks and stumps,
Yep.
Because Moose has led so many landscape workshops. How many people submit pictures of dead trees? I look at the shots, I'm like, why would you do that? Because somewhere in their life, they saw a black and white dead tree and it was really, really good. And there you're standing in front of a dead tree and they can't say no. Your chances of making that dead stump into an award-winning photo are very slim, but people do it, right?
Weston was unique. You can't copy Weston very easily.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is but they still do it, right? But if Moose were to say, hey, stop shooting stumps, right? Stop doing this. Does that mean that no one can ever shoot a stump? I always say the last thing you want to do is take the cliche shot, walking down the railroad tracks with a guitar over your back. It's been done to death. And so, you know how many times I read online, well, Scott Kelby said you can't shoot on railroad tracks. I didn't say you can't shoot on railroad tracks. I just said it's cliche. There's a lot of things that are very, like, other photographers see it and we just go, oh, not the railroad track. Like, if I see that when someone submits it for the blind critiques, we all just kind of moan, oh no. There's just a lot of shots. It's just like when we do in Photoshop, when we do a selective color effect, right? Does it mean it's never appropriate? Like when you make the whole photo black and white and you leave something, in color, like the bride's bouquet or something. It's very wah, 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 right? It's very cliche. But that doesn't mean you can't do it if the client wants it or the client likes it. These things are not rules. It's just kind of a tip from one photographer to another. I'd probably stay away from the railroad track and I would.
But that brings up a really good point.
Which is?
If the client wants it, everything goes out the window.
Right. The client, if they want it.
You gotta understand, the client says, I want X. It's like, X you get, whether I hate it.
And by the way,
whatever.
Even if the client doesn't like it, even if the client doesn't ask for it, because I don't think you're going to get I have had people ask for this, but say, can you make the image black and white and make one part of it color? And I'm like, yes, I can. Bing. However, I know for a fact that if I put it in the wedding album, they're going to absolutely love it. The last wedding I shot, I did the most cliche thing ever, where you open the Bible and you take the wedding ring and you make a little heart. Could not be more cliche until the bride saw it. Oh, yay. And that's the thing about, hey, I just realized you were there. Kathy, who's our entire studio audience today, was one of my second shooters, right? I won't do a wedding without Kathy. She's so good. Anyway.
But it's important if you give the client the X, but staying true to yourself, you should also show them why and give them the option.
Yeah, but it's different. When you're working for someone, they're paying you or whatever, then now it's about them.
Yes.
Being true to yourself is like, this is who I am. And if they want you to do something that you don't think is right or isn't true to yourself, if they say, look, I want you to shoot everything and everything in the book has to be selective color, I'd go, I don't mind one. I can do a couple, but that's just not me. I don't want to do something where I will feel bad about it at the end of the day, like I've made a Photoshop nightmare. But I guess what it is, and this I guess goes back to what I said earlier about people wanting there to be a set of rules. The rules of photography are this: no tracks. And I know now I can mark it off my track. You should mark it off your list because it's kind of cheesy, not because somebody told you you can't shoot on railroad tracks. We're very legalistic. We want there to be a set of rules that can be judged and this is good and this is bad.
So I got a technical question for you.
Sure.
Did we say stop sending in comments?
No.
I'm just curious. The screen's blank. It's like either they're...
Yeah, I don't know what Jen's doing over there. She's like...
We've got them speechless. It's like... That's unusual for a photographic community.
She's like
so
typing
quiet.
a lot and doing stuff. You
Just
realize
curious.
there's a show going on over here.
Yeah, just,
with me and Moose. Okay, all right. So that was one, was stop being so legalistic, because I think I think we forget that this is art. At the end of the day, this is art. And you can hear me say, don't shoot on railroad tracks. But you know what? Is it possible to create a really, really good shot on railroad tracks? Yeah, it probably is. But it's been a long time since I've seen one. That doesn't mean it can't be done. And it's just like I have a particular lens that I don't like, the 18 to 55. I think that focal range is, but that's just me. Does that mean a photograph can't be taken with an 18 to 55? That's awesome. Absolutely it can. I see people shooting with the 18 to 55 that take amazing pictures. I just think it's harder, but that doesn't mean it can't be done. Hey, look. Look.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Tell them that we're keeping you busy, Jen. Thanks, Stephen. Tell them that we're keeping you busy. There's a lot of cussing going on in there, and that hurts.
I guess so.
All right, Moose.
Next one. I'm
all
ready.
Right, here we go.
Stop thinking a website and social media is the road to success in photography.
Uh-oh. It's not?
It's not. I hear people with pressure on the website, and it's... like I like to tell Sharon, I said, I'm always happiest when our phone bill is really big each month, because it means I'm reaching out and talking to clients, and that's when the business rolls in. It's the personal touch is an amazing tool for reaching out and making photo sales and doing business. It's amazing. Now, does a website and social media help? Yeah, but a lot of the people I talk to, it's like they spearhead their entire branding based on that rather than getting out and being personal. And photography is a very personal thing. Yes?
Did you see the comment?
No.
Jim Kearns asked, Jen, ask them if they can speak a little softer. I can't concentrate on the chat. Do Moose and I really even need to be here?
Interesting. I like that.
Jim, you're now banned from the show. No.
Speak softer?
Now, you have to do something really bad to get banned.
Okay, Scott, let's talk this over.
Sorry, Jim.
Really soft. Really soft. That's what I was going to complain.
Like
too soft.
Charmin soft. Ooh. All right. I got one for you.
Yeah.
All right. That was one I already said. Okay, here's one that you know what you could really stop is it's a post-processing thing. And I love post-processing. You know I love post-processing. But I would say that a lot of people, especially newer to this, tend to crank up the volume of their post-processing too far. It is a common thing that we see on the grid. We see it if it's HDR, you've turned the amp up to 10. If it's like a contrast effect, like a tonal contrast or something, you've cranked it up. When you see that your clouds actually have drop shadows, you've probably gone too far.
You mean a little is good, a lot might not be better? Is that what you're saying?
It might not be
Maybe.
better. Right.
You might break a pixel?
Now, I will tell you this. I will tell you this, and this is the thing that I would say to people that they look at their stuff and they don't think it looks over-processed. And that's the word we're looking for. So stop over-processing your stuff. I think what happens, and this has happened to me, and I think it's happened to a lot of people, is you're working on something and you do a shot and you apply your stuff. And at first you think, am I going too far? Well, you start doing it again and again, and you're working on 10 photos, and you're working on 15 photos and 20. It starts to not look, you start to get numb to the effect. Mm-hmm. And so you keep adding more and more to get that, it's like anything else. So have you ever noticed, and here's a good example. You go to a restaurant, like Moose and I will be tonight. dining at a fine place called Burger King. No, I'll take you to someplace better like Hardee's. Anyway, but like when you get a burger and you take your first bite, right? I like burgers. So if you take your first bite and it's just so good, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best burger I've had. Your second bite is really good. Your 11th bite's good, but it's nowhere near that. Like your first bite is magical. Your second bite is almost as magical. Your 14th bite is good. Because the taste is with you, and the first couple were really good. I think that happens in post-processing. Like people, they started at an amp level of 7. Like they've amped up their effects to 7. And the longer they work, the next couple of images get to an 8, and then a 9, and they're working at a 10, and they're like, these look good, right? It's almost like you need to kind of step back, take a break, and come back and look, and you'd be like, oh, I went too far. So that would be one of my things that I would say is, whether it's sharpening, whether it's effects, whether it's HDR, whatever it is, if you get to where it looks good to you, it's probably going to look better to most people if you got to where you like it and then just back it off a little bit. Just back it off a little bit. Like if you were going to have your volume at 8, go to 6.5 or maybe 7. Even if you dropped it 1. In photography, I think in general, in the big picture, I would say a lot of people would preach that less is more. Simple backgrounds,
keep it
a
simple,
simple
stupid.
Subject. Why does it when it get to post-processing now, it's like, well, you took a very simple composition, it's very clean, let's bury it. Let's bury it in post-processing. So that would be my thing, is to just not go too far. And I used to tell people this about sharpening, that when you're sharpening, they're like, well, I don't know how much. I would say sharpen in Photoshop, like move the amount until you go, whoa, and then come back a little bit till the whoa stops. Unless you're printing, then I go to where it starts to get crunchy, and then go a little further.
Whoa.
Like
Well,
it's getting crunchy.
That kind of feeds into my next one. Stop having little faith in yourself. You'd be surprised how no matter where you are in photography, you already have a really good inner feeling about things. So when you're finishing those photographs, stop thinking you need more. Have faith in what you're seeing and understand that you're going to grow later on. Photographers, no matter where they're at, they seem to be, we talk about insecure, but they also have no faith in what they're doing. I think photographers don't realize that your photography right now is a complete buildup of all your experiences in your life, not just photographic life at that point. And all those experiences go into your photography. So if you had more faith when you went click with the camera, you probably would not have to sit there and overcompensate in post.
I agree. Can I tell you something I also agree with? And I want to say this, is if you look at the teleprompter and you look at your thing, I read one of your things as stop having faith in yourself.
I saw that.
And I was thinking, I'm really interested to see where Moose goes with stop having faith in yourself.
Well, the problem
But it's actually stop not having faith in
They had
yourself.
to read my handwriting.
Oh, okay.
That's the issue.
That's That's much better. We have some comments. Leslie Natal says, I hope I said that right. Moose, your book captured, by the way, we're giving away a signed copy of Moose's book, the best book ever written on wildlife photography, right here, captured by Moose Peterson. I'm not just saying that because we produced it. We knew it when he was writing it. There was this kind of moment where everybody in the building knew, this is special. This isn't just another book. There was that moment where we're all like when it started to really come together and we're reading this stuff and we were like, this is going to be great. And everybody thinks, it's incredibly reviewed. It's been critically acclaimed since the day it came out. We're giving one away. We're going to ask Moose to sign it because he's right here. He's Moose. We're going to be giving that away at the end of the show today.
You won't be able to read my handwriting then either, though.
You will not be able to read his handwriting then. Mm-mm. So stick around for that because we're going to be giving that away. Leslie Natal says, Moose, your book capture was the first book I bought on wildlife photography. Thank you. It's still in my car along with my snake boots. Algia 10 says, question for Moose. What do you think would turn this industry around to where we will stop being taken for granted and asked to work for free? Boy, I have a thought on that. Go ahead. But I have a thought on exactly what that problem is.
Really? You want me to answer that?
Yeah.
This book, just so we are clear, the majority of this book, I work for free. That's how I obtain the images to create the book. no biologist has a budget to pay me to go out and do that. So technically, that came from working for free.
But that's very different, though, because you have a newsletter. You teach biology. You're a student of biology. You're a teacher of it. This is you got your images on assignment to do something important for the wildlife community.
Correct.
And you took those images and turned them into this book.
Right. And I wasn't taken for granted because I was part of that community.
Right.
And maybe that's part of the answer. Whatever genre you're working in, are you there just to make money, or are you there to contribute to that community? So in this case, we go with aviation, which right now I'm really into aviation photography for a lot of reasons. One of it is because of the people. But I got so into it in just 6 years by giving away prints to the people who own these $1 million planes. And I went and shot them for free and gave them the prints. And now, just like in biology, that goodwill and being part of the community has turned around to now it's an income maker.
Right.
So I never go out thinking that anyone owes me a job or a paycheck. I go out thinking I need to earn that paycheck.
So you're not a millennial?
No.
Okay. Sorry. Jen, can you bring that question back up? Can you hit undo and bring that question back up for me, please?
So I think you're going to get out of it what you put into it. It's a two-way street.
Well, because I want to, because what they asked here, I want to address one thing, and it's just my theory, but it says, what do you think will turn around this industry to where we will stop being taken for granted and asked to work for free? Can I tell you what the problem is? This is my just opinion. Mm-hmm. My opinion is the reason why you're asked to work for free and why you're being taken for granted is simply supply and demand. There are so many people today that can take a very good picture. You go buy a camera today, go buy a Canon Rebel, go buy a Nikon 3300, open the box and take a picture. They take really good pictures. Cell phones take really good pictures. When you go to a concert, everyone there taking pictures in the first 20 rows is getting really good shots of the band. And so the band, these people that are just consumers, are thrilled that a band would want to take their picture and put it on their thing. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to pay somebody else to do it. And unfortunately, it's everything. How many people in your town today can shoot a wedding? All of them. There used to be a time where photography was a skill where getting a proper exposure was actually a craft. You had to be very good at it. There was no screen on the back of your camera. I used to have to take an actual Minolta light meter, and I was metering stuff. I'd be in the studio and metering down. I'd throw it in the garbage because I go, oh, that's what it looks like. But if I didn't use a meter, either in my camera or in my hand, I couldn't get a proper exposure. You had to work for it. You had to invest in it. But now, I'll give you an example. So I go to a football game, and there are 60 or 70 photographers on the sideline, been as many as 100 or 150 photographers on the sideline. There was a time where in New York City, there was probably 70 people who could shoot a Yankees game and do a good job, mm-hmm. that had the equipment, that if given the access, they could come out with professional pictures. If the Yankees said, hey, we're having an open call for people who can shoot our sport, and here's the minimum you have to have in experience and the minimum you have to have in equipment, the line would go all the way to the end of New Jersey. Because there used to be, there were 70 people in New York. Now there's 7,000 people in New York that are good enough to go shoot a Yankees game and get reasonable pictures. And that's a real problem. There's nothing that we can do about it except for get so good that your stuff looks different, that you stand out from the crowd. And I'm going to give you an example of a guy like that. So his name's Chip Litherland, all right? Go check him out. So I see Chip at the area, right? His stuff looks different. You go look at Chip's stuff and you're like, and he gets hired for these ESPN projects and these big commercial jobs, and you're like, his stuff looks different. I can't do what Chip does. You know what I do? I do the same thing everybody else on the sidelines does. We capture the action. He's capturing other stuff. You're like, I was at the same game. Where did that shot come from? He has found a way to make a living by being different while everybody else can take a good shot. Every photographer on the sidelines, I don't sit there in the workroom and look at other photographer stuff and go, he's not good, she's no good, she's no good. I look around and go, good shot. There's a good shot there, good shot. They're all good. That's the problem. Everybody's good. The reason why people don't value what we do and why they ask doing it for free, because if you say no, there's 500 photographers behind you that go, I'll do it for free, and they're pretty good. That's the problem we have. We're taking so many pictures. There's so many people. There's such great equipment out there. As the equipment got better and better and better, and it makes great shots right out of the box. If I opened a box, put the battery in, put a card in, handed it to my 10-year-old daughter, sweetie, take a picture, walk outside and take a picture, she'd come back with properly exposed photos. She'd come back with a bunch of properly exposed photos. It's where we are. It is a, okay, so Algia asks, how come supply and demand doesn't apply to Verizon? Lots of demand for data, prices keep going up. Oh, you don't understand supply and demand. The reason why that Verizon can keep raising their prices is there's unlimited demand for data. If there wasn't enough people, if Verizon started losing money, prices would go down. But every time that Verizon raises, people pay it. They keep going up and going up. They want Verizon service. And if you've ever used Verizon Fios, I swear that's the sweetest internet and television and phone package you've ever seen. Kathy, do you have Verizon Fios? I do. Right there on the set. How do you like your Verizon Fios? It's great, isn't it? If they raise the price a little, you going to keep paying? Absolutely. You know why? There's a lot of demand for Verizon. If all of a sudden demand drops, prices will drop.
Can I ask one question?
Absolutely.
Can we go back to the other question?
Absolutely.
So, while what you're saying is correct about supply and demand stuff, being an old fart and going to school a long time ago, there was one thing that instructors taught me that I thought was very important, and is you have to educate your buyer. You got to educate your client. A lot of photographers take that for granted when they think a photograph is all it is. But I think if you were to actually interface with that client, which is why I'm kind of not thinking social and websites are really the thing. Actually talk to that client. You'd be surprised, even if you don't have the best photographs on the planet, if you talk to them, educate them, they're going to pay you where before they might have said, I want it for free.
Right.
It's amazing where conversation does make a difference.
I totally agree with you. But also, Moose, and I'm going to ask you to be very candid when I ask you this next question.
Okay.
It's candid and it's naughty. How many times have you seen a photographer who's doing really, really high-end work for really, really big clients, and you go, you know, their stuff just doesn't look that good? It happens on a regular basis. You know why? Because they like that photographer. Mm-hmm. They like that photographer. They like working with that photographer, and to them, they're pretty happy with what they're getting. Now, could they maybe pay more or work with somebody who's a pain in the butt and get better photography? Most people like to work with people they like. Straight up, I'm the same way. Mm-hmm. I like to work with people that are easy to work with, that are fun, that I like, that I respect, that I know if I hire this person, the job is going to be on time. They're not going to have any attitude. They're going to treat it very professionally. It's going to be a very enjoyable experience, and no one's going to complain about the shot. We're not going to send it into an awards category, but no one's going to complain. And you'll see people working for the biggest corporations in America, and they're doing stuff, and you go, God, if Joe McNally had that account, he would kill, he would crush, he would do an amazing job for them. And instead, they're getting pretty good photos.
But that's a great example why Joe McNally is such a in-demand photographer. It's not just because his photographs, he is such a people person.
People love Joe.
I mean, and it's like, can I give you money? It's like, oh, sure. It's so that human connection, you got to have it, even though you're behind the camera.
Well, that's why he's such a stellar success and has worked for so many years.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is the whole deal.
He's the whole package.
He is the guy that you want to work with. You can't wait to work with Joe. You can't wait for him to be on the set. Every time Joe comes here to do a class, just like when you come here, everybody loves it. Everybody's having a great time. It's a lot of fun. The whole thing's a success. But like Joe, you're the same way. You deliver at that level that very, very few people can. So that's why you've had the career you've had. That's why Joe's had the career. You gave some really good advice just now that your teacher gave you all those years ago, because it's that human connection and how they feel about working with you, not just the work you create.
Yep.
Question for Moose. Fox 3 Photo asks, Fox 3 Photo, live. It says, question for Moose, do you make any aviation income from aviation other than editorial? So I guess they're asking either selling prints or commercial work.
So the answer is yes. And people ask me quite often why they don't see as much wildlife, or they think I'm not doing as much wildlife when actually I'm doing more wildlife than ever. And it's real simple. There isn't a rock or rabbit that's going to pay me, $5,000 for 15 minutes of my time.
You just haven't found the right rabbit.
So yeah, there's a lot of money to be made in aviation compared to wildlife. And yes, I get paid everything from photographing parts to photographing air-to-air aircraft. And that comes from my time and, of course, from prints. So yeah, there's aviation is this exploding business out there that a lot of photographers are doing really amazing stuff. Our youngest son, Jake, what he's been doing in the last 3 months and stuff is just mind-boggling. And he's a young kid, but he has incredible work ethics. He does great images, but he has a great time with these people. He spends hours talking with them, and then he shoots for a few minutes, and you get paid for all that. And editorial. Understand that editorial marketplace, to talk business, it's not where you make money. It's where you make a reputation of delivering and knowing your product. And when it comes to, I've got $1 million aircraft, and I could hire the guy that's got the great camera, or I can hire the guy that's had his stuff in the magazine. So when my friends say, who took the picture? And you see a name, oh, that's the guy that did the article. And then all of a sudden the pilot goes, yeah, it is. And instantly your credibility went up because his friends now know you because you're in that magazine.
This is exactly what Lindsay Adler said when she sat in your same seat, Moose, which was she does her editorial work, which doesn't pay very well, because she wants to get noticed by the people that will give her commercial jobs. Now, I mentioned a guy, I'm not going to mention him by name, but a guy that I know well is a big-time sports photographer, and basically says, he told me straight up, I don't do editorial anymore. All the money's in commercial. If he gets hired by a company, by a sponsor, by a clothing line or whatever, the money is fantastic. If he goes and shoots the Super Bowl, his chances of making any money are this. Biggest game out there.
So that might be true. And there's only one reason why I stayed in editorial, and I think it's essential, is because the people who are looking at my images, those editors, they're the best on the planet when it comes to telling a story visually. So if I want to keep learning and be a better photographer, having someone I can talk to and say, well, this photograph, it works and tells a story, this one, but this one, because it doesn't have these elements. If I want to learn to be a better photographer, which is a nonstop process, I'll never stop learning. Those editors, even though they might not pay me dollar-wise, they will always give me a word of advice in that process that will always improve my photography.
There you go. So here's the thing, Jim Kearns, I'm not really sure we should take your question after your earlier indiscretion, but we will. Moose Scott, anything on your don't list about people's pricing?
No, not mine.
You know what? Only thing that I would say is here's what I would do when it comes to pricing. You can privately do the math of what you think it's going to take for your post-processing hours and stuff, but never bid a job by the hour.
Can I tell you my business secret that Sharon and I have had since day one?
Mm-hmm.
And we learned the lesson the hard way from another photographer and listened to a story. But when we talk to a client, one of the things we typically say is, what fits your budget?
They'll tell you.
They will tell you in a heartbeat. And when you fit their budget and when you deliver the product on time and it's a good product, we'll get a second sale and a third sale. I really hate one-time sales because it means something went wrong in the process. My price is too high. My product didn't deliver. I wasn't smiling enough. So a repeat customer, it's as much job security as a photographer can have. So we always ask what fits your budget. And then with that price is too low, we will discuss it with them. And sometimes the first one might be lower than we want. The second time, I guarantee, they will always come up to what they think is fair because you did them a solid, for lack of better terms, and it's worked for us for 4 decades.
This is why I love having Moose on the show. You always get something really. I mean, that kind of stuff you don't get everywhere. You know what? We're really out of time. So there's a couple of things that I want to do today for love. Moose, you got a couple of good ones. Can we just go through them real quick and wrap it up? We're going to do a book giveaway. Let's take a short break real quick. We're going to regroup because we got to bring this plane in for landing. It's 5:07. We're already kind of 7 minutes over. Hey, that was like a
yeah, I got it.
I didn't mean it to be.
That's okay.
Anyway, but we're gonna focus. We're gonna figure out the last couple. Moose has got some really good ones. I think I've pretty exhausted mine. I think I might have one left, but Moose has got a really good one. Some good ones. We got Miles has got a question in there, and a couple of more comments. And Jim Kearns says he feels guilty after his last comment. Jim, we were totally just messing with you. Jim, we actually love stuff like that. Do not, no, we're sending the love back. Don't think anything of it at whatsoever. It's just, it keeps us from creating more havoc. We're gonna take a short break. Moose is here, still here. Don't go away. Hi everybody, Scott Kelby here, and I want to invite you to watch my brand new class. It's called Creating Beautiful Wedding Albums in Lightroom. I'm going to show you the whole process from start to finish, but I think what makes this class really valuable for wedding photographers is the design part. It's the beautiful part. It's making the album look great. Having your bride and groom just open it and just go, wow. That's what this class is all about. You're going to learn lots of design tips, layout tips, and it's all right in Lightroom ready for you to do. The class is right here exclusively at KelbyOne.
Oh, wait. Greg, do you see that?
Yeah, Bryn. What tracks are those?
I don't know.
These look like moose tracks.
Moose? In Africa?
Station says fresh tracks of a moose heading east from First Avenue Piccadilly towards Fred Street.
Greg, keep a lookout for fresh scat out here.
Bryn, I don't know what moose scat looks like. Station tracks of the moose look to head east. Brendan, look.
Moose is in Africa.
Did he?
Yeah.
Hey, we're back.
Good place to be.
Me and Moose chatting here. Hey, a couple of things. First, so Moose, as you know, is at Photoshop World. But Moose is doing something we've never done at Photoshop World, and Moose made us do it.
But Moose does it all the time.
Moose does it all the time.
All the time.
But so the day before Photoshop World, we do these in-depth workshops. They're optional. Like if you want to come a day early and like dig in like on one particular thing.
We call them pre-cons.
Pre-cons, but it's pre-conference workshops. And we... these are a lot of them are shooting opportunities. Like you're going out with Moose and you're going to shoot. So here's the thing. This is not for wusses. So you were doing a landscape photography workshop that starts at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yes, sir. 4 a.m.
And you leave from the hotel from the Mandalay Bay.
And going up to Red Rock Canyon, we're going to shoot sunrise.
Sunrise
in the
at
cool
Red Rock.
of the desert morning.
The cool of the desert morning.
And then we're going to motor on back. And we're going to get in the digital darkroom, and together we're going to finish the images we shot that morning.
Very nice.
We've never done it that way. Never done it early, never gone it
I know, but
light.
can I tell you what? Do you know what I love about this idea? It's not the 4 a.m. part at all. But no, what I actually love. So I've been a guest instructor at Moose's workshops and stuff, and I've been to many of Moose's workshops. By the way, one of the workshops that I went to that was the most fun, we had the absolute worst weather. Remember Virginia?
Virginia?
Was it Virginia? Where we went, yeah, it was like West Virginia.
You're talking about the one up in upstate New York, I think.
No.
West
This
Virginia.
Where is Joe Perry's house? The guitar player for Aerosmith.
Oh, no, that was Vermont.
Vermont.
That was Vermont.
It was not Virginia, it was Vermont. And
yes.
it rained for 4 straight days. And it's cold and we're standing in the rain and Moose is like, stop your whining. But it was like, but it was It was so much fun.
We had a great time.
And that's the thing about it. Like, we lost a lot of opportunities. It wasn't anybody's fault other than just Mother Nature, which is a big part of landscape photography. But you can have so much fun and still, and that's one of the things that's great about the social aspects of photography.
It is.
All right. So anyway, back to our story. So Moose is doing this thing. What I really like about it is a lot of people, when they take something like really cool, like we did a hockey workshop a couple years ago. All anybody wanted to do was go look at their shots and post-process them. So I love the fact that you're coming back. But here's what's cool about this. So you come back, and it's a limited group of people. It's a small group of people. You're not taking 300. It's a very, very small, intimate group. And once it's sold out, it's done. And by the way, here's what happens. It is the fastest selling pre-conference workshop at Photoshop World. It's going to be sold out like that, and then everyone is going to whine from now until the end of July. They're going to be like, can you get me in? I guarantee you, I will have personal friends calling going, is there any way you can get me in? They're like, no.
Sharon makes good money on taking people on the back end.
I bet she does. Yeah, because
she's at the door.
Everybody wants to go, all right?
Yep.
But the fact that Moose is going to be there while you're doing your post-processing, he's going to teach some post-processing, but while you're doing your images, you got Moose right there to go, should I have made this guy a little darker? Did I go too far? His answers will be, yes, you went too far. No, but I think that's the way to do it. You do the shoot and then give the people a chance to do the post-processing. So if you're going to the only way to go to Moose's thing is you have to be a registered person at Photoshop World. So go to photoshopworld.com, register and join us in July. 3 days of just Photoshop and photography and Lightroom and Adobe apps and just love.
It's the best event on the planet.
It is. It's amazing. If you've never been, look, there's a website.
There it is.
July 19th through 21st at the beautiful Mandalay Bay, which you can see right there. Boom, there it is.
And this will be my 24th.
Is it your 24th Photoshop
Number 24.
World? Well, let me tell you, we're very lucky to have you there.
I am fortunate to be asked back.
And there we are. And look at all these instructors. There's Moose, there's Joe, there's Peter Hurley, there's Lindsay Adley, there's Roberto Valenzuela.
And there they went.
And we got a bunch of new instructors and stuff too. That's really cool.
Including my son.
Including your son, Jake, yes.
Yes.
And Jake is very good. Jake is going to be a force to be reckoned with in this industry.
He's going to blow past Dad, let me tell you.
And then the other thing is we have a special evening event, and I haven't announced it yet. No one's announced it. Can I say it? Is it okay? Am I putting the cat out of the bag?
Better wait.
I better wait. Jen's over there, and she's kind of looking at me
silence.
like, maybe not. Yeah. Okay. We have a special evening event, something we've never done, and we're not going to tell you what it is, but it's really cool. And I can tell you on the break because you're Moose. But I can't tell you guys. But it's going to be, we're doing new stuff at Photoshop World this year. We're doing a lot of new stuff. We're doing like everything from pub crawls to a film festival. We have the most of any Photoshop World ever networking and fun and meet new people kind of events.
You know what I'm looking forward to is what you introduced last one. That's the labs.
Yeah, the labs.
I had a great time at the lab.
I loved my lab. So let me tell you what the labs are.
The labs are killer.
All it is what I talked about is the half end of Moose's class. So I'm running one on retouching. You just come in the lab, you bring your laptop, and you bring the type of images that you normally work with. Your images, not our images, your images. We put on classical music. I put on James Taylor's new album.
I had Wings.
Okay, played nice music, and then you work, and we just walk around. And I walk around, and I go, what you working on? All right, let me see how you're doing that. And I try to just literally pull up a chair and sit with you. I work on your stuff until you're up and running, and then I walk around and go to the next person. They raise a hand, we sit down, and we work on your retouching. It's the most fun.
Last time it was Brent, Jake, and myself. It will be this time. We're doing a landscape
Brad
lab.
was with me. We did it,
And we just went around and around, and we had a great time, saw some great images, and I think there's some really good learning going on because people are finishing it their images their way, just asking for suggestions. So it was a great class.
It's great. And you know what I love about retouching is a lot of times people are doing something like really, really the hard way. Like they're doing something that goes, oh, I hate to do the eyes. It takes like an hour. And I'm like, well, you're doing this. And they're like,
that's the funnest thing. The light bulb comes on.
Gosh,
eyes get really
I didn't
wide.
know you could do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how I do it. Oh my gosh. All right. So anyway, go to photoshopworld.com. We would love to have you come. It's tons and tons of fun. Official registration opened last week, and people are signing up left and right. We want you to come. July 19th through 21st.
Do we have time to finish that, or do you
in Las Vegas? Yes, we're going to go through these real quick. Moose, I would like you to answer. There's 3 I chose of Moose's that are really good. His are much better than mine. I would like for you to talk about that one right there.
Stop saying, I've got that shot. It just absolutely drives me nuts. As if the sentence has been done, exclamation point, it's carved in stone.
Like there's no one you can shoot it again.
It's like, really? Have you shot it to your heart's content to where you think in your mind is perfect and running perfection is boring? It's like you close the door on everything. It drives me nuts. And when I go out shooting, I was shooting for a long time, and when we shot film, shot in-camera dupes. And an in-camera dupe is the same picture shot a couple times. So if anything happened to the original, you'd have in-camera dupes.
Somebody messes up in the lab, or you don't crank the film correctly.
Right. And so that firing the camera off multiple times, I did it all the time once because I had to. Now in digital, I do it because I love the sound. And people go, didn't you get the picture? I said, of course, but I can never have enough. I don't know why. But
And sometimes when you take a burst, one of those shots will be a little sharper.
Or it'll be a little different inflection in the movement, the shading, the color. There'll be some subtlety that'll make it the one that's worthwhile. So I don't know why any photographer could ever get that shot and be done with it, because wouldn't you be done with all your photography then with that?
You know how many times I've been back to Paris to shoot the same things? Shoot it. I like to shoot it again. I posted a little crepe stand on my Instagram account. I posted
I love it. Yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
It's a great shot. The person getting the tea, beautiful green canopy over it.
I love that.
I didn't see the picture.
Well, other people go, I got the same shot. I'm like, I'm cool with that. I'm fine with that. But it's like, if I went back to Luxembourg Gardens, I would have to shoot that same crepe stand again, because you can see it different. It can be different light when you shoot it. That same cool guy won't be sitting there. Maybe someone better.
Different color shirt.
All kinds of
the
stuff.
Stool wouldn't be in the perfect spot.
Everything changes, and don't think, well, I got that shot and I can check it off my list and move on.
Can't.
All right. Can you also answer?
Yes.
This one.
Stop believing everything you read.
Said the author of Captured, Moose Peterson. Sorry.
This is a good example of what I'm talking about. So most people aren't aware of the editorial process, where you have X amount of words to express your idea or your process. You don't have unlimited. So, Scott was really good. He gave me unlimited. That's why it's a 3-pound book.
Go look at something while you're talking.
So I had an unlimited amount of page to express the entire thought. A lot of times editorially, when you are reading that article, just the simple mechanics of making the magazine, they don't have enough words to put everything in there that you need. So you read it and there's going to be something missing just because of the process. And that missing thing could be the one thing that's important to you in your photography. So don't believe everything you read is gospel and carved in stone. It doesn't work that way. And it leads to a lot of frustration, and it leads to a lot of missed opportunities. So people say, well, I read. I'm like, if you understand the process, you probably didn't get the entire thing. And that's really what I want you to understand is, don't believe everything you read.
And don't believe everything you see. It's funny when you just said something like that. I'm going to branch off on your thing. I said
you've never done that before, so start now.
So
tell me about Verizon. No, I'm kidding.
No, on do you have the FiOS? It's unbelievable. Anyway, Juan, do you have Verizon? I do. Do you have FiOS? Is it awesome?
Shiny, 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 shiny.
Juan likes it. Hey, you got to realize Juan doesn't emote a lot. So Juan literally going, it's incredibly high praise. That's like other people literally shooting off fireworks.
I thought I was telling you to wind it up.
Was that it? Yes. Oh, dang. Juan. I love it. I love Verizon. He loves it. He loves Verizon. It's too late now, Juan.
Isn't this free TV?
No, it's not free. There's a network, and there's, I don't know.
All right.
I was going to tell a short story. I have to make it really short now that Juan's giving me the
sign.
The thing,
Yeah.
Was number one was, people will sometimes also take, when you have a limited number of words, they'll take one little thing you said and pull it out of a paragraph and write a thing on why you're wrong.
Oh,
where it's not
yes.
like somebody, I said something in a seminar, and it's part of a very long thing. It's part of a 7-minute presentation, and they take one sentence and went to DP review and said, well, Scott Kelby says you can never shoot on a railroad track. And then they were lining up, it was the angry group said, woo, and they went, and I don't go in there and go, that's not what I said. He's taking one little sentence out of a 7-minute thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of an overall picture. I wish I could. I went to go see if I could find it so I could tell you what it was. But that stuff happens a lot.
It
where,
does.
And so that I would put that under don't believe everything you read. You can't take one sentence out of 7 minutes and say, this is what I got out of it. This is what I heard. But that's not what it was there. All right.
Well, to finish that off, for me personally, you got to understand that you have to take what works for you and embrace it, and everything else you have to throw away.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell people all the time, just disregard it. It doesn't apply to you. Everything doesn't have to fit for you.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. You can pick and choose.
You also have to find, like when there's information out there, if somebody goes, this camera's good, this camera's bad, this technique, do this, do that. You're going to have to find out what makes sense to you. It's like parenting. When I remember when we were having our son and our daughter, we took classes on how to raise kids and all. Now, our kids, both of them, absolutely amazing. I take no credit for it. They were born awesome. And they're just, my son and my daughter are just the greatest. I sound like a dad.
I don't know how we did that.
But I don't know, dude. Yours are the same way.
Yeah.
They're just like amazing, wonderful, and I'm not trying to go, I'm a great parent. I'm like, I don't know even how this happened.
I don't know how they survived me.
I don't know how they survived us. Like, they're just, but when you read all these parenting books, like there's parenting book A and parenting book B, and then you go to a parent meeting, like, you're about to be parents, and they go, oh, well, you have to follow Dr. Johnson's book. You have to follow Dr. Smith's. And they're so far apart. You have to look at all this information out there and decide what makes sense to me, because it's all right.
Yes.
For example, you'll talk to a photographer and go, you should always shoot raw. They're right. But you can also shoot JPEG, and here's why. Well, that's right too. You have to look at the story and decide which of these two things that are both right, and they both make a good case, but which one speaks to me and which one am I going to follow based on an analysis of what everybody says. This one says only shoot raw. This one says I prefer JPEG. You can't just go, I don't know. You're going to have to be an adult and go, my choice is this and here's why, or whatever it's going to be. But that's part of it. It's hard for kids, but as adults, we have to look. That's part of our job. See all this information and decide what's the path.
So we could wrap up this entire grid by saying photography is all about you.
Yeah, it really is.
It's what you put into it.
And it's about how you feel about it.
Everything.
It's about how you feel about your gear. And it's, all
right,
right,
yourself.
I do want to say one last thing because I saved the last one. It's very important.
Oh, and the question on the screen I want you to answer too.
Jeff May asks, Moose, when are we going to see a printed aircraft book? Well, Moose.
Well, Scott. We'll talk.
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. We do books. Yeah, well, I would think pretty soon.
Okay.
I forgot. We do a lot of books.
Yeah, you do a few books.
Holy cow, and your last book did really well. But you never really talked about
Thanks,
it.
Jeff. Jeff, checks in the mail.
All right, Jeff. You get like 1% of Moose's royalties. And by the way, that's not true. Okay.
Yes.
The last thing is this, I think photographers have to stop thinking that they're covered because they have their stuff on an external hard drive.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I cannot tell you how many sad, heartbreaking, heart-wrenching stories about people whose hard drives have died, whose phones have been lost, whose computers have been stolen, whose computers had drinks spilled on them or whatever, and they lost thousands and thousands of photos. The photos that you went and took in Yosemite are one thing. The photos that you took of your family and the photos that are the visual history of your life can be gone in the blink of an eye. I think it's important to realize that if you take all of your images and you put them on a hard drive and you stick it on a shelf, there's a reasonable chance in just a few years when you plug it in, it doesn't work again at all. I think that people think, I put them on DVD, I put them on CD, I put them on a thing. Do you know what makes your images last a long, long time? Print them. The fact that our parents took all of their prints and they stuck them in a shoebox was better than what we do today. Believe it or not. I still have pictures of me as a baby. I have pictures of my brother as a baby. You know what we found last week?
What's that?
We found out, now I mean my cousins, found the telegram sent by my mother and father to my father's sister that my older brother was born. A picture of it. They took a photograph of it.
That's cool.
But we would, if they had put it on a hard drive or a CD or any of that stuff, I wouldn't have any of it. Because if you think about this, I talk about this in my seminar, if you were to die tomorrow, you get hit by a bus, which is my wife's default thing. Everyone dies by being hit by a bus.
Oh, okay.
Straight up, that's it.
So we should ban buses then.
I told her, honey, you need to stay the hell away from buses. You see a bus, run the opposite direction. But anyway, if you were hit by a bus tomorrow, which is likely that one will now come by Juan because I'll be driving it. Anyway, so if you're hit, do people know your passwords? Do they know your backup? Do they know if you have Amazon Prime or Dropbox? Do you know if you have Crash Plan? Do they have any idea how to get to your collection of photos? The stories that I hear are so people crying and telling me their stories. Is there anything I can do? I am absolutely astounded at the number of people that have zero backups.
Can I offer the flip side of that?
Yes.
People who have backups of all their images, yet they only have 1% they've ever taken time to actually finish. It's like you have all these images you've backed up, but you don't even take time to finish them, so you can't even share them or print them. So it's like if you don't want to put time into finishing them and printing them, why is there such importance to back them up in the first place?
Absolutely, because...
So that kind of frustrates me. I mean...
Print them.
To me, photographs, if they're not being shared, it's just a coin collection. They're in a drawer, you pull them out, you look at them, and you put it back. And coin collections, how many people enjoy coin collections? I know there's some, but if
they're lonely
you print them
people.
and you give away those prints, then everybody gets them. And then, of course, those are files that you really need to make sure you back up, because those are the ones that meant something in the first place worth finishing.
Yeah. But if you want them to live, don't just back them up to the cloud. Don't just back them up to another hard drive. Print them.
And give them away.
Make prints and give them away, because then they live on in other people's lives. And people see your work every day, and it makes their lives a little happier, unless your work's very bad. All right, a couple important things. Brand new class tomorrow. Every Thursday, we introduce a new class on KelbyOne. Tomorrow is one I absolutely know is going to blow up. First off, it's Dave Black. Dave Black is the king. Number two, he's doing a class on photographing the Milky Way and how to do black light painting, so light painting, and photographing stars on location.
He is the man.
He is the man. It comes out tomorrow.
Talk about a romantic with a camera.
Oh, Dave is unbelievable. Also, for those of you who are graphic designers, this last Thursday, we came out with a class from Dave Clayton. Dave Clayton is a very, very immensely talented designer, and he did a class on InDesign basics, and he did it all project-oriented. So you're not just sitting there learning tool after tool after tool. You're actually building something, which is a much better way to learn.
He's so talented.
He's very, very talented and a terrific guy.
Funnier than heck.
Funnier than heck. He's very, and he's got a made-up British accent, but you'd swear it's real. Anyway, let's do some giveaways. Here's where you go to do a giveaway. You go to KelbyOne.com/webcast-contest. We could not come up with a better URL than that. It is KelbyOne.com/webcast-contest. There's a submission form. You're watching the grid. You put in your name, your email address, and your whatever, and just hit send. And we will pick a lucky winner. We will have Moose sign the book for you, and it will say Mr. Moosey Man. And we will ship it to you no matter where you are in the world, because we're loose with money. Well, folks, that's it for today. Jen, thank you for putting up 3 or 4 comments during the show. That was very nice of you. I think 2 of them were actual real ones. And I think she was writing the first couple of ones. Did you notice, is it me, Moose, or were the first comments all about Jen?
I was noticing that. Didn't say anything, though.
Yeah, well, it's good. There's probably better we know. We don't embarrass her. Moose, where can people go learn more about you?
Well, on Twitter, it's Moose Peterson.
That's good.
On Facebook, it's Moose Peterson. On YouTube, it's Moose Peterson. Now, it gets complicated going to the website. It's moosepeterson.com.
Oh.
And now here's the hardest one.
Boomerang.
Email moose@moosepeterson.com.
Cell phone number?
Moose.
1-800-1900.
Moose.
Moose. Are you on Verizon?
Thanks for watching
right.
today.
Hey, so Miles Irwin asked the question to wrap things up. Who was a photographer that recommended you look into? Go look at the work of Chip Litherland, Litherland. Wonderful photographer, sports photographer, but he does all kinds of stuff. His use of color, I think, is spectacular. I mean, I see him on the sidelines all the time. We're like, hi, Chip. Hi, Scott. We don't really hang out. But every time he walks by, I go, I hate that guy because he's so good. But he's actually a really very nice guy. When I do talk to him, but what's weird is as he walks away, he usually spits at me. It's weird. Anyway,
He's probably AT&T.
He's awesome. He's with AT&T.
Yeah, that's
he's with
it.
Comcast. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thanks, you
guys.
As always.
Thank you, Mr.
It's
Scott.
always such a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show. Jen, you were adequate. Juan, thank you for being there when I needed you. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.